Hi guys, welcome back to the second video in this series where I'm going to be taking you through some of the common mistakes that beginner programmers make. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about writing readable code. And so I'll just jump you onto the screen and then I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so on here on my screen, let me zoom in actually so you can see it properly. Please zoom. Yeah, there you go. Okay, maybe that's too much. Right, so I have a little script here, which is a kind of like a game. So you have to guess the number that the computer has generated, and then yeah, if you guess it right, you win. And you don't have like a limited number of guesses. If you wanted to quit, you just type quit. So that's kind of like what this little script is doing. But actually, I'll just show you first. So if I run this, node readable code.js. So yeah, it'll ask, okay, what number am I thinking of? I'm gonna guess like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So okay, so 8 was the number to guess that time. If I run it again and type quit, it'll tell me, okay, the number was 10. So you don't have to sit there and try and guess forever. But anyway, the what I want to talk about is actually the readability of code you write and making sure that you take it into account when you are writing your pieces of code and so on. So here it kind of links to my previous video, which is to do with naming variables. And as you can see, these variable names, to me, they're quite ambiguous. So number guess, for example, could be interpreted as the number of guesses. It could be interpreted as the number to guess, or it could be interpreted as the user's input or the user guess, right? And in this case, number guess refers to the user's guess. And then there's this other variable n, which is even worse of a variable name, because n could mean whatever, right? There's no context behind it. So trying to name these variables appropriately is your first step to writing readable code, which we covered in the previous video. But the next thing I'm going to say is when you're actually writing your code, you want to try and make sure you write it in such a way that when you read it back to you, it looks like you're reading a sentence in English, for example. And I'll show you what I mean by this when I show you the readable code. So yeah, when we're looking at this non-readable code, when you read sentences, not sentences, but lines of code, like for example, line 8 here, while number guess not equal to n and number guess not equal to quit, carry on asking what the number is, or asking the user to input what the number is. So it's okay, but you would have to sort of understand the context as to what is really going on in terms of the variables and so on to understand this code properly. And similarly with if number guess is equal to n, print congratulations, you win, else tell them what the number is. So that's the non-readable version of the code. And I'll show you what I think is readable, and I shall uncomment this. Okay, so this is what I think is the more readable version of the same piece of code. So I've renamed the variables the user guess and number to guess to distinguish what will be the input from the user and what is the number that the user will have to guess. I've also added a flag to make it clear as to if the person who's playing the game has won or not. So when you read these lines like while is winner is false and user guess is not equal to quit, carry on. So that's very straightforward. So that's like, if you were to read this, you'd be like, while is not the winner and user has not said quit, carry on. So that's very that's much more readable and understandable by yourself coming back to the code at a later date or someone else who's reading it. Similarly to this if statement at the bottom, So if is winner is true, then it will say congratulations, you win. But if it's false, it won't say that. It will just tell you what the number was that you had to guess. So this way, even by adding small flags like this, is really useful. And if you have like a Boolean statement where your variable is going to be, not statement, Boolean variable, where your variable will be true or false, it's nice to have like an is something, just to, I guess, understand further as to what that variable means. So it's like the variable is a question in a way. So is winner, and if it's false, then is winner is no, they're not the winner. Is winner is true, then they are the winner. So it's kind of like you're asking the variable a question in a way, if that makes sense. And I think it's important to write readable code, because if you're writing readable code, you need to comment less, which is also a good thing. Because sometimes you can over comment, which is not great, and that shows, if you have to over comment, it shows that your code is not readable enough. And so you should only really use comments for details you can't really explain through writing readable code. So for example, why you would have used basically specific operators or comparators, and stuff like that, really. So something to explain why you did something, not what it is the best way to comment, in my opinion. And so that's basically what readable code is and why it's important. Because obviously it's similarly to your naming variables and making sure you name variables correctly. You want your readable code to be a habit of yours, because once you're writing programs that are much larger, it's better for yourself that you write readable code so you understand it when you come back to it much quicker. And same with if you're working in a team, it's better to write readable code, because then everyone else can understand it at a much quicker rate. Because one of the hardest things with software engineering is reading someone else's code. So if you're making it easier for someone else to read it, then that's better for both of you in that sense. But I'll run this script again, showing you how the second script or second example here on the readable one works the same. So if I run this code again, so now instead of running this top section because it's commented out, it'll run this bottom one. So the same principle applies. It's still the game. No. Okay, so 4 was the number to guess there. And I'll do it again, but type quit. Hey, so there you go. The number to guess was 5. So that's it shows you the code works exactly the same. It's just when you're reading it in your like IDE or whatever you're using to write your code, you can just easily understand what it says, and you don't have to comment as near as much as you would if your code was non-readable. So that concludes this video, and if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, share it with others who you think might find it useful. Also, subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more tutorials like this coming out in the future. Enjoy your day, night, wherever you are. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.